keep asking me if I'm pregnant. I'm not pregnant. I have the IUD, guys. I got the IUD whenever I went in for my, I had to reschedule my appointment several times because I couldn't get there. But I had my postpartum checkup or whatever.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard went live once again, and she claimed it was just one of those rare quiet moments away from the chaos of being a new mom. But anyone who's been paying attention knows these so-called rare moments seem to be happening quite a lot for someone who says she barely has time to breathe. During this live, she touched on a range of topics: her job situation, her body weight, birth control, and what she refers to as her advocacy work. But like many of her public appearances lately, what she chose to say and what she conveniently skipped over left people raising their eyebrows. A particularly awkward and emotional moment occurred when someone in the live chat shared a deeply personal comment, opening up about being a survivor of Munchausen by proxy. It wasn't just another random message, it was a vulnerable moment from someone clearly looking for empathy and maybe even a bit of connection. Given that Gypsy has built her public identity around being a survivor of this exact form of abuse.
So we scheduled me to have an IUD. So I have the Kylina. I think the Kylina is what I have.
You'd expect her to pause, show some emotion, and maybe share a personal reflection or ask how the commenter is doing. But instead, Gypsy responded with a generic, robotic phrase, "I'm proud of you," sending good vibes, and quickly jumped back into thanking viewers for their gifts and support as if that raw comment had never happened. There was no effort to connect, no genuine care, and no sense that she really understood the gravity of what was just shared. It felt more like she was going through the motions of being an advocate than actually embodying that role. That one moment revealed something uncomfortable. Maybe Gypsy doesn't fully grasp the trauma she claims to have endured. And perhaps that's because the narrative around her has been mostly shaped by media speculation rather than solid evidence. Her mother, Dee Blanchard, was never formally diagnosed with Munchausen by proxy.
Watching. Oh, thank you, Ellie. You're a Munchausen survivor? Oh, I'm so proud of you. My blessing.
That label only started circulating after her death, largely pushed by documentaries and headlines. Even more puzzling are medical reports and interviews suggesting that Gypsy may have actually deceived both her mother and her doctors. She allegedly told them she couldn't walk, despite being fully capable, and even chose to sit in a wheelchair herself. That's not exactly the textbook image of an abused child. It sounds more like manipulation. And yet, despite the contradictions in her story, the public embraced her as a symbol of survival. Meanwhile, countless real victims, those who were drugged, starved, or permanently disfigured by their abusers, are rarely heard or acknowledged. What makes this even harder to digest is how Gypsy appears to be profiting off a version of events that doesn't quite add up.
Many good vibes your way. Oh, thank you, Kristen.
She regularly goes live, collects digital gifts from fans, and continues to tell a story that feels more like a performance than reality. She's essentially built a brand out of a victim identity that many people feel she hasn't truly earned, and in doing so, she's taking space away from actual survivors who never got the chance to speak up. When the topic shifted to her weight, Gypsy was suddenly very detailed and open, as if she'd rehearsed what to say. She explained that when she got out of prison, she weighed 145 pounds at just 4'11", and she blamed the prison commissary for her size. She said the food options were so unhealthy that inmates basically had no choice but to rely on processed snacks every day. According to her, the extra weight stuck with her even after she moved in with Ryan.
It was a lot of junk food, a lot of carbs. And then when I got out of prison, I was 142, 145-ish. And so the 3 months that I was out before I got pregnant, I had not lost any of the prison weight.
It wasn't until she got pregnant that she claimed she started eating healthier, cooking at home, cutting out junk food, and miraculously dropping down to 120 pounds by the time she gave birth. But then she added a line that really stopped people in their tracks. When asked what her weight loss secret was, she joked, "Maybe go to prison, gain weight, and then come out and get skinny." That's what she actually said. And while it might have been meant as a joke, it landed completely wrong. This wasn't a harmless comment. It came from someone who served time for plotting the murder of her own mother. To reduce that experience into a punchline about weight loss isn't just insensitive, it's disturbing. It's like she's trying to rebrand prison as a crash diet rather than acknowledging the serious crime that put her there in the first place.
So fast forward, I get pregnant. And upon getting pregnant, my initial weight intake was 142. So, of course, throughout my pregnancy, I was eating better because I was not eating the prison food anymore. And so,
what's even more unsettling is that Gypsy doesn't seem to recognize how tone-deaf she sounds. In fact, she seems to enjoy saying things that push the boundaries of what's appropriate, as long as it keeps her in the public eye. She doesn't reflect on the past with any sense of regret or responsibility. Instead, she leans into this strange mix of casualness and self-promotion, keeping herself relevant without ever truly being accountable. During the same live stream, someone asked her about her current job, another completely fair question, considering she's a convicted felon with a violent crime on her record. Most people in that position have a hard time finding stable work. But when Gypsy was asked how she makes a living, she didn't miss a beat. She simply said she considers herself a social media personality, and left it at that. No explanation, no acknowledgement of how serious her past was.
The weight started to fall off me, even though I was pregnant, and most people gain weight when they're pregnant. I was losing the weight because I was losing that prison weight.
Just another smooth line that shows how carefully curated her public image has become. According to Gypsy Rose, her current work includes being the focus of a reality TV show, authoring books, and managing her online brand. But let's not sugarcoat what's really going on here. None of this would exist if not for the crime she was part of. The only reason networks are interested in following her around with cameras is because of the disturbing story that put her in the spotlight. Her books didn't gain attention because of literary skill. They caught eyes because of the grim fascination people have with her case. She's turning a tragedy into a business. Everything about her current career, TV appearances, memoirs, her social media presence stems directly from the murder of her mother. This isn't a journey built on talent or hard work. It's a monetization of a courtroom story. And when the lifetime contracts expire, when social media stops trending her name, what will she do? Audiences move on fast, especially in the digital world.
Stabilizing what should be my norm. So by the time I gave birth to Aurora, where she weighed 6 pounds 5 ounces, and I probably like 5 days out.
The same fans who flood her comments today will be on to the next big scandal tomorrow. Gypsy has mentioned that she might get a regular 9-to-5 job at some point, but for now, she's sticking to the media path because it's easy and she can do it from the comfort of her home. She also added that she doesn't trust anyone else, not her husband, not her family, to watch her child, which is part of why she clings to online content creation. But let's be honest, going live, accepting digital gifts, keeping up with her curated internet persona, this isn't a job in the traditional sense. It's not work, it's collecting sympathy-based donations from followers who either don't know the full truth or choose to ignore it. She's not earning in the traditional sense, she's performing. And like all performances, this one has an expiration date.
I checked the scale and I was 120. So I lost like 20 pounds over the course of the 9 months because my body was still acclimating to being out of prison.
She often claims she never gets a break, that she doesn't even have time to enjoy the little things, like reading a book or taking a relaxing bath. She says motherhood has completely taken over her life, but the reality doesn't quite match the picture she paints. She's been seen going live multiple times a week. This isn't an occasional thing, it's regular. And in the very live stream in question, she opened by saying her daughter was asleep, so she figured she'd ask the quiet time to hop online. She didn't choose to rest or do something personal, she chose to put herself back in front of a camera. So which Gypsy are we supposed to believe? The overwhelmed mom with no time to herself, or the online personality who somehow manages to squeeze in Q&A sessions, fan shoutouts, and appearances on national TV? She even mentioned that when her husband is home to help with the baby, she's still busy doing chores, vacuuming, folding laundry, cleaning up. Yet, despite all that, she still finds time to sit down for long live streams. And if she truly wanted that peaceful bath she keeps talking about, what's stopping her from taking it? Why not close the app for 5 minutes and read a few pages from that book she bought? The truth is, she has time, she's just choosing how to use it. Her priorities are clear. The screen wins over self-care every time.
Very specific reason that I lost weight. A lot of people ask me, like, how did you lose the weight? I'm trying to lose weight. Well, go to prison, get fat, come out, you're gonna get skinny again. I don't know what to tell you. It's just how it is for me.
And that's where her story starts to crack. The exhausted mom narrative doesn't match the active, on-camera Gypsy who always seems ready for her next moment in the spotlight. It's a carefully crafted image of selective struggle. Then there's the issue of her birth control, which she brought up during the live stream too. As with many other topics she touches on, this came with its own share of confusion. Gypsy said she's not planning to have another child anytime soon and claims she's currently using 2 forms of birth control, an IUD and a pill. Medically speaking, that's not a common combo. Most women use one or the other, both are effective on their own. Using both simultaneously is rare and usually only done for very specific reasons. Given Gypsy's past habit of bending the truth, it's hard not to question whether this double layer of protection is real or just another attempt to reassure the public that she's being responsible this time. Saying she's on 2 kinds of birth control almost came off like Gypsy was trying a little too hard to prove how responsible she is. It didn't come across as reassuring, it felt more like overcompensating. During the live, some viewers even commented that she looked pregnant, which had to sting, especially after all her proud talk about dropping weight post-pregnancy. One week she's showing off her new figure, and the next, people are wondering if she's expecting again. That definitely wasn't the reaction she was aiming for. But that's the thing with Gypsy, her narrative shifts constantly. One moment she's talking about healthy habits, and the next, she's saying something that completely contradicts what she said before. The more she talks, the harder it is to know what's real. Whether she's really on double birth control or just saying what she thinks sounds good, there's one thing we can count on with her: clarity is always the first thing to vanish. Now let's look at her custody claims. Gypsy insists she's with her baby all day, every day, and never gets a break. But the timeline doesn't add up. She's constantly online without the baby anywhere in sight, and when the child does make an appearance, it's brief and often feels staged or supervised. She says CPS isn't involved, but her behavior raises questions. The courts know her background. This wasn't a petty crime, she played a direct role in a planned and violent act. And she's still on parole. It's very likely that there are some legal limits to her custody, whether she wants to admit it or not. She gave herself away when she mentioned that she jumped on live while her baby was sleeping. That proves she does get personal time, she just chooses to spend it online instead of resting or bonding privately. Maybe that's the real story here. Gypsy's full-time gig isn't motherhood, it's performing the role of mother online, like an actress in her own carefully scripted narrative. But fantasy can only go so far before reality creeps back in. This live wasn't just another casual chat, it exposed a lot. Contradictions, emotional disconnection, and a whole lot of self-serving behavior. From the awkward jokes about prison weight loss to the shallow responses to serious comments, everything felt off. And let's not forget the confusing custody claims and forced advocacy, none of it feels authentic. Gypsy wants to wear many hats: reformed woman, loving mother, misunderstood victim, internet darling. But what we're actually seeing is someone who's mastered manipulation and knows exactly how to keep people watching. The image she's selling isn't lining up with the actions she's showing. If you've made it this far, you probably see it too. The truth isn't in her words, it's in her behavior. And that's something no reality show or social media spin can hide forever. Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe for more. You know we're not done unpacking this yet.